While we've all missed minor league baseball this season, one local man brought the ballpark home. Andrew Heminger is a counselor at Eastwood High School. When the pandemic shut down schools back in March, he decided to pass the time by making a model of Fifth Third Field entirely out of paper. BCSN's Alex Wilcox showcases Heminger's masterpiece.
When quarantine started, I needed something to kind of do inside. We had a lot of extra time. School was shut down, so I was working remotely and working from home. Part-time at school, part-time, so I needed something. So on Twitter, there's a guy, and he's at Paper Stadiums is his name on Twitter. And I started seeing it, and I thought, that looks really cool. And it was something to do that was cheap and that I could work on and pick up and put down. And I thought, well, a minor league stadium will be easier than a major league stadium just because it's not as big, there's not as many decks. It's just simpler. Well, it turned out that I think it actually was more difficult because I did the entire block that it sits on. And so you have all these old buildings that are built into the stadium, and you have all these different things. And so I thought it was going to be easier, and it probably ended up being more difficult than expected. Trying to get the dimensions right is tough because when you do one side of the stadium and then you got to try to make everything line up, when you're building out of paper, you have a little bit of flexibility, but it's hard to say, okay, this pillar is 30 feet high, and now we got to go and make that all the same and try to cut those all the same because you're doing everything by hand. So it's sort of like probably building a house 150 years ago. You don't have machine help, you're doing stuff by hand cuts and that type of thing. And it just makes it a little bit more difficult to make sure the uniformity is the same. The best thing that I used was Google Maps and the 3D feature that's in Google Maps. So you can just go, put in Fifth Third Field and get a pretty good idea of what Fifth Third is like because you can just pan it right down to the ground. And I actually used the 3D map of home to first to know that it was 90 feet. And then I could measure everything off of home to first on that overview. And that allowed me to kind of measure things. And then that 3D from the side allowed me to measure how high stuff was and get it pretty. So is it exact? No, but it's pretty close because every inch is 30 feet in terms of scale. And then you get things as close as you can. Yeah. There's the same amount of windows that's in the stadium. There's the same amount. I mean, it's really true to life because I thought, well, somebody on Twitter will criticize it if it's not. So it's pretty accurate in terms of the stadium itself. I think it's cool. It was fun to do. It wasn't something I ever intended to do. I don't intend to build a whole bunch more of them. If there's a kid or if there's somebody that really likes the Mud Hens that wants it, they're more than welcome to have it. So I didn't ever have really a master plan in place. I just thought, well, this would be something fun to do. And now, if I would have been 10 or 12 years old and a baseball fan like I was and somebody wanted to give this to me when I was that age, that would have been awesome. But for me, I don't need it. So if anybody wants it, just let me know.